It was alright. Hey guys, this is Jeremy here. I just finished Tough Mudder yesterday, so I am sporting my shirt and my coffee cup, my new coffee cup. I'm going to be using this a lot. And excuse the mood lighting, but my secondary light just blew and I don't have a spare bulb. So that's going to be an issue for time being, so I'll just go with mood lighting. Today was the first episode of the second season of True Detective. I was super excited. I loved the last season. And one thing that I loved about it was the character development. Matthew McConaughey's character, Rust, and Woody Harrelson's character, both of those guys were just amazing. They had such great flaws. They had such unique styles. They had such interesting personalities. Probably the second and the third episode, nothing really happened. It was just them and development, and it was fantastic. With the new season, we're like, oh, okay, we got Rachel McAdams, we got Colin Farrell, we got Taylor Kitsch. Okay, that's going to be great. We got Vince Vaughn. Oh, I hate Vince Vaughn. I'm just going to throw that out there. I think he's never done anything real of worth at all, ever. So that was obviously something I was worried about. Least to say, he's actually not that bad. The biggest issue with this new episode is nothing happens. And I know that I said before that I don't mind because there's great character development. The problem is there wasn't really any. We were getting introductions of each character. There's 4 main characters, and the problem is none of them really meet up until the end, which is obviously, this episode was just a build-up to everything that's happening. Taylor Kitsch, you really didn't really get much from him. You get it that he's kind of an adrenaline junkie, sort of, that, or he questions himself all the time. But other than that, we really didn't get much from him. Rachel McAdams is a person who's just pissed off at the world, or that she just doesn't really care. Vince Vaughn, he's a mobster or a criminal person who is actually trying to make something that's sort of legit, this train line. It's something that's been done in some criminal films where a criminal enterprise actually tries to do something legitimate so they actually get legitimate money, which is a big milestone for them. There's obviously some issues with this one person who is missing, who all 4 are related to, are searching for in a way. But definitely the guy who is going to be the sort of Rust of this season is Colin Farrell, because holy crap, he definitely does a few things that are interesting. He has a son who he sees off and on. He's on a separation, and he, in between all the other stuff that he's doing, he has some shady dealings, and he has alcohol problems. When his son gets beaten up, instead of, handling it like a normal father would, he near on terrifies his son to death and calls him a pussy bitch. And then proceeds to, but at least to say this kid will never bully again. But it's interesting. His character is one that's definitely going to have the emotional roller coaster. That's what I like about Nic Pizzolato's writing. Forgive me if that's wrong, but he has fantastic flawed characters. Flawed is probably the first word he looks up every day when he's creating characters. He's already establishing these interesting characters that have the possibility for so many different avenues. Granted, they weren't as big as they were with the last season, but we were focusing on 2. Really, just 2. This one's already given us way more main characters and way more minor characters to already deal with. It's obviously a challenge. It's like a step up. Also, for directing, I really miss the other guy, Cary Fukushima, I think it was his name. I'm sorry if I'm incorrect. But the fact that he did every single episode last season was great. There was this consistency. There was this really steady direction. And it had this kind of look, this authentic look. But this episode was directed by Justin Lin, who has directed Fast and Furious 3, 4, 5, 6. So it was... But other than that, I think he directed the episode really fine. Like, for character development, this is the deepest that Justin Lin has ever done. Definitely. Considering what he did with the Fast movies, this is a huge step. But also, one thing that really is going to set some people off is the opening song. It's done by Leonard Cohen. I don't mind Hallelujah, but I don't know the rest of this guy's stuff. The last song was perfect, and hell, the trailer song was perfect. It was so good that you had the girl in this episode playing at a bar. Why didn't you use her? She's fantastic. Like, every time the song played from the first season, that pumped me up. This one is just going to put me to sleep. I'm going to be straight up honest. It's going to put me to sleep every time I bloody well listen to it. So in the end, for this first episode of True Detective, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was barely good. In comparison to previous openers for HBO shows and just for an opening in general, I'm going to give this episode a 3 out of 7. Now, that's low. Obviously, that's a negative. But when the season ends, you will only remember this episode for the fact that Colin Farrell called his son a pussy bitch. That's it. And then the later thing. So anyway, guys, that's all for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm going to do one for every single episode of the season because I really wanted to do that with a TV show. So anyway, that's all for me. I'll see you guys later.